It's a much more relaxed city. It doesn't have the stress of like a New York, and I think it's just it's a really great place to like create. I guess I could say like I really like the weather here and being able to like go to the beach and like it's always warm. But then again, I work in this like concrete box, so I don't really know what it looks like outside half the time. I mean, we don't have a strong tech industry here, but there are pockets of developers working on projects, which is really nice to see. And I think it's growing.
We went from having seemingly nothing to having something. And it's still growing. Miami's not exactly on the tech map in any sense, but it has a lot going on that's just beginning, and it's pretty exciting. Miami's a great place to live, so a lot of people are starting to pick up on that.
Our group is called REVERA Corporation. We're a record label and game developer. So we made a game called Water Planet that goes with my album under the music that I make. So it's like an EP called Water Planet, and it has 4 songs, and then the game has 4 levels that go through this universe around the music. With our collective, most of us also make music, so like with our next project, it's a VR shooter, but it revolves around the realm of Ood's Music, who's one of our artists, also my partner developer that worked on Water Planet with me. What we're working on with the REVERA Corporation, we want to continue like releasing video games and VR experiences for artists that we release on our labels.
Since there's not many big AA, AAA type jobs or studios here, we also get to team up with some of the coolest people that if we were in a larger city, they probably would have been scooped up by something like that already. We're kind of a satellite in a sense, where the REVERA Corporation is a few of us, and then Home Systems, who are doing the Soulkeeper VR. They have their own thing, and then little by little we continue to find out that there's these little splintered off cells of people that are also doing it. And it's cool, because since there's so few of us, it's exciting when we meet each other, so it's kind of fun. There's other larger cities we've visited, and people just kind of look at you like, oh, that's cool, you do that. I do that too, we all do that. I don't want to talk about it. But for us, it's exciting because we're from Miami, and Miami's not known for it, so there's something interesting about that.
I remember when I started, it was the equivalent of the desert. There was nothing down here, you know. There was no community. There were no game developer associations. There was nothing. But through the years, I have to say, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, there has been a lot of indie developers that are on the rise. Our community has started to, you know, get organized. There has been a transformation. So for every meetup, you know, we prepare differently. Depends on the content of each meetup. Up to last year, the way we're doing meetups was we just randomly, you know, selected different fields that we want to emphasize on, different techniques, you know, development techniques, different tools in the Unreal Editor. But usually people didn't have computers with them, so that was kind of, you know, boring for them. This year, what we're doing is we are having a whole bunch of computers that run Unreal Engine. And every 2 or 3 meetups, we build a new prototype focusing on a specific genre. You know, like it could be a different game every time. It could be like an RTS, an RPG, an FPS, a VR game, you know.
You know, if you go to the meetups, there are like more and more people coming, so there is definitely like interest behind going after games, not only as developers, but as designers, as sound producers, and so on and so forth. I cannot say it is big. I would say it is somewhat still small, but I see that a lot of people are interested in games here. So it's kind of like really nice to know that at least South Florida is growing.
The meetups have continued to grow, and the interesting thing is there's also a lot of satellite meetups in a sense. Because even though people maybe just go to the meetup once a month or every other month or something like that, day to day they're working on their own projects and meeting up within their own groups.
It's quite funny because I remember the very first time I was invited to one of those meetups. I remember walking in, there were like 5, 6 people. I was like, are those guys serious? I was like, probably I'm just wasting my time here, But then I told myself, it's one principle I have, I live by. Don't judge a book by its cover. Eventually, I myself became the main founder of Unreal Florida down here because I gathered all the developers that were working with Unreal Engine, and I told them, look guys, we have to get organized here. There are meetups all over the world, and Florida has nothing. So how about we get together and start doing something? Some of them were in agreement, some of them felt that they don't care. They were asking me like, what do I have to gain out of this? And of course, in my opinion at least, that was the wrong way to approach it, because when you build a community, you start also building the foundations of an industry. And when you build an industry, then guess what? You attract investors, you attract talent, and then when your team actually needs developers, you know where to find them. Because not everybody's willing to work remotely, or maybe even move from California or New York or Europe or Asia here. Just game development itself takes a lot of time, energy, and money. So if you also have to commit to growing a community, that takes a toll on you. I think it's definitely the right step, and I have to say that the evolution I have seen all those years in the South Florida and more specifically Miami area has been definitely eye-opening and inspiring.
I think a huge factor has been the natural virus of things like Unreal Engine and all the other tools, virtual reality, all the disruption. It's becoming an option in Miami that a lot of people are looking at.
I know that Central Florida is somewhat developed because there are large studios there, but we're in the South Florida, Miami area, so it's still some time needs to be passed to say that it is a mecca of game programming.
I think it's just awareness. I think a lot of people don't realize that they can download Unreal Engine right now and start making a game. So if more people knew that, I think more people might actually, start making games. We have some people doing a lot of UI UX stuff. We have a lot of programs at our colleges that are offering game dev, animation, all of that. So it's a growing interest and a growing demand for more information on how to be a part of game development.
I would say Miami is unique for game development in the sense that it's still new. It's a great opportunity for new developers to come up and experiment with new ideas, And one thing that I start seeing, and I hope I will see a lot more in the future, is that local, investors start showing a little bit more interest towards game development. I still haven't seen any serious efforts where they actually invest a lot of money in the local game development studios, but at least they start thinking about it. And that's definitely a step in the right direction. If local investors start being interested in actual investments towards, local game developers, in combination with the fact that the local game developers are still kind of new and experimenting with new ideas, I think we could see a completely different aspect in the whole game development industry being brought up here.
A lot of the newer people, a lot of them are younger, obviously. Maybe they're still, either just out of high school or entering college or something like that. And those people are extremely interesting because they have this new option of game development with more of an actual path, a roadmap for a career. And that's something that a lot of people didn't have, especially in Miami. In Miami, it wasn't even offered at schools or anything like that. So now there's the Magic program at Miami-Dade College, and there's many other types of programs related to computer science or game development or animation or 3D art. We have a lot of options now, and I think that naturally we will develop this talent pool from all those kind of people you saw, for instance, at the meetup, and there's so many more of them. And once we have that talent pool, people will come to Miami to leverage that for their studios. I think once Miami has a few more games out from people that are from Miami and people start to make that association, we'll eventually get larger events here, and eventually someone will move here. It's inevitable. We have all the boxes ticked for a great place to have a company, so people will come here.
It's an opportunity, you know, it's new territory. So with new territory, you can always find new opportunities. Something that I'm really looking forward to see how it evolves in the next couple of years.